Hello. Here's Mr. Red Fox with another video. Now, this video will concern my ideas for Outer World DLC or expansions. Now, before I get into that, I have to give you the specifications and the scope of what I mean. So basically, DLC is a catch-all term, but typically speaking, it generally speaking, is more indicative of smaller bits of extra content for a game. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. So let's say you're playing, I'm going to use an old game that most people should be familiar with. So let's say, for example, you're playing Chrono Trigger, okay? And let's say Chrono Trigger didn't come out, in the 90s, it came out now. And let's say that Magus, instead of being a character that you could recruit just through the base game, he was taken out, and for $5 or, $1.99, $2.99, $3.99, for a small price, you could basically unlock an event that made him a playable character. Well, that would be a DLC character, okay? That would be DLC, downloadable content, okay? Or, maybe if you pre-order the game, you could get them immediately, whatever. That's DLC. Now, on the other hand, if they added another scenario to the game that was equal to about a third of the total Chrono Trigger game, which Chrono Trigger, if you play it, if you really know what you're doing, you can get through one playthrough in under 20 hours. Like, I think 16 to 20 hours is the run if you really know what you're doing, and you know what to equip and how to defeat certain enemies and that type of thing. Squaresoft back in the day, if they added another scenario that was around 6 to 8 hours of gameplay, that would be an expansion, because you've basically expanded the total size of the game substantially. So in layman's terms, just to sort things out, DLC is smaller downloadable content, typically speaking, when people are talking about DLC, and expansions are larger, more substantial downloadable content. And they shouldn't be lumped together, even though, technically speaking, expansions are also DLC. So, now that we've laid that out, I guess I should start with DLC ideas first, so smaller bits of content that could be added to the game. And, yeah, let's get to it after the cut. So, here's my idea for, here's some ideas that I have for DLC for the Outer World. My first idea is, why don't we do something like this? Adding new science weapons. Like, I would have no problem paying, $6, $7, $8, $9 for new science weapons. Maybe double the science weapons you have in the base game, which is 6, so maybe go up to 12. Maybe have a science weapon that lets you steal otherwise unstealable items from enemies, like keys and stuff like that. It doesn't do damage, but it's great for getting items that you normally wouldn't be able to get unless you killed someone if you don't want to kill them. Maybe have a science weapon that's like a melee weapon for people who want to go on a pacifist run, but you want to knock people out without killing them. Like a stun baton or something. They have something called a stun baton in the game, but it's still a weapon. It's not really a stun weapon, a non-lethal weapon. Something like that, I think, would really some stuff like that would really add scope to the game. Maybe a weapon that lets you lay mines would be cool. Imagine if you had a science weapon that lets you lay mines, depending on the mine type you want to use. And, let's say there's a group of canids or, raptidons far away from you, you lay down a blanket of mines, you shoot one of them, they come rushing towards you, and they all get blown the fuck up in a field of mines. Stuff like that would be cool. And finally, what if they added a science weapon that was essentially a rocket launcher? Because you have grenade launchers in the game, but you don't have a rocket launcher, which I always felt was kind of like missed opportunity there. But aside from that, yeah, I really do think that the Outer World could really deal with, smaller bits of DLC. Another smaller bit of DLC is maybe a new character, maybe a quest assigned to said new character, maybe one or two new characters. Maybe a space station that you can basically commandeer and then do quests to kit it out, so then you have a space station of your own where you can maybe make customized armor sets and stuff like that, and customized weapons for your characters. Stuff like that I think would be really cool. That being said, I guess it's time to let me know in the comments section any type of DLC you'd like to see for the Outer Worlds. When I say DLC, I mean the smaller term of DLC, like smaller bits. Now, in the next segment, I will go over expansions that I would like to see for the Outer Worlds. So larger bits of content, new planets, maybe new sections to explore, that type of thing. So let's get to it after the cut.
You seem like a young man who could use some direction in your life.
So,
in the wrong bunk?
here's some ideas I have for expansions for the Outer World. Larger bits of content that add a substantial amount of new content to the game. Hours worth, a good quarter to a third of the gameplay length. So, I would like to see DLC that maybe goes to another solar system, another colony.
Hold on to your hats, Jim.
Maybe discovered that Halcyon Holdings had a sister colony, and try and reestablish contacts with them. Maybe add in some maybe add some extra those planets that are indicated in the game but you don't really go to. I would love, let's go to Titan, or Triton, or whatever. Let's go to some of those other planets that are mentioned in gameplay lore, but you don't actually get to go to. I think that would be a really cool thing. Imagine, if you will, going to, the planet that's closest to the sun of this game, and you having to wear environmental suits and in order to survive, and special breathers, and discovering things, from the Hephaestus Mining Corporation. Maybe you troubleshooting some things for them. I think that would be a really interesting kind of expansion to do. Maybe having a city that you have to get back up to, have to do certain side quests in order to get it back up and working, so that the people who are living there don't die when the environmental systems fail on the city and they all cook to death because it's a outpost slash it's an outpost slash town slash city that's on a planet that's located really close to the sun, and yet people are living there. Stuff like that I think could really work. Just to me. I know some people disagree because people always disagree, but those are just some ideas.
We are just that good.
I think all of that could really be useful, downloadable content for the title. So with that being said, I guess we can go to my plea to the viewers. Give me some ideas that you would have for Outer World DLC that you think would be good for the game. that would really add some extra content that would make the game worthwhile in your eyes. Because, I mean, for those of us who own the game and have played it and beaten it, the game itself is pretty damn good, but it would be awesome to have more content to the game because, this game is literally, if you do everything, you're going to spend about 30 hours on the base game. If you do everything, that's all the side quests, or as many as you can, the hidden quests that are kind of like not really mentioned as side quests, but are useful to do. I think that would be really cool. So with that being said, tell me your thoughts on expansion ideas that you would like to see, and enjoy the rest of the gameplay.